Okay, there's our cue. All right, fiends, how are you out there? And I've got number one fiend right here, and I say that with pride. Um, Paul Dillon has been with us for a long time without showing his face. However, you've heard him on these airwaves, folks, friends, and fiends. Paul Dillon is the man behind pMad. Um, Now, first of all, welcome to the show. How the heck are you, Paul?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much indeed. And I'm even better for coming on and putting a face to face. It really makes connections. That's what I believe in life. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that. And don't be fooled by my mug. I'm not always that sunny. Just right now.
That's okay. Neither am I. But
Well, I'm aware of that. I've listened to all your music, and we've played it here, folks. I hope you go do your homework. If you don't know who this man is, pMad's been played here. How long have you been sending us stuff? At least
oh
5 to 8 years.
no, we're only going since 2021.
You got to be kidding me.
It
All right,
just
so
feels. It
five.
just feels like that, does it? It's that bad.
Oh no, 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 no. I just feel like I've been listening to you a lot
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in a good way. And we play all your stuff, everything you send to me.
Yeah.
I've always played whatever you're
It's a lot of music. Someone said around, I think 36 songs or something have been released in them few years. So that's maybe where the
that alone. That's an interesting thing because I think we're peers when it comes to age. We won't have to mention that. But I was around where bands released one or two singles and then released an album possibly in 4 to 6 months, something like that. But they warmed the plate first.
yes.
Nowadays, you, sir, have to get used to releasing singles maybe entirely all the time.
Yeah, we'll have this my smart 12-year-old son, and we have this discussion that over
Oh,
our
really?
our album's dead, and the youth, and I tell him he's listening to albums, he's buying vinyls now, which is fantastic, and what he's
Yeah.
into, and I
Glad
play
to
one,
hear it.
he plays one, and then when he goes on to the Spotify's and the other things, and he just it's a rabbit hole, because you just end up hopping around from one song to the next, where you actually get an album, and I'd say that's the single, is that the single? And I said actually the fifth or sixth song is probably the best song on the album, that sort of way, and the hidden
And
tracks.
absolutely, that the deep track. That's how you and I looked at music from the onset.
Yeah, yes,
I was born in 1970, so do the math. You understand. And the 80s, the epitome of releasing, 1, 2, and Def Leppard
bang, yeah,
5. Like some bands, Metallica never released anything, and
single, yeah,
then
yeah,
one came out and it rocked our world. Like Metallica put a single out. What is this?
yes.
They kind of broke boundaries back then, and they would do it again with the whole Napster thing. But how are you getting used to this thing, releasing the singles? Like, how do you just decide this song sounds good, let's do it?
Well, what I plan, what I do is every song on the album is so good to me, it's a single, yeah. So that's
Cheers.
my idea. So the way
Cheers.
So I did it with Who, Why, Where, What, the debut album. I released a load of singles, and then bar two at the end, I kept them as released the album, and then two. And then with Iron Power, I decided people were giving out, sure, we have the album now and we heard all the songs. So
Right.
with Iron Power, I sort of let out a couple of songs, but only on Bandcamp. Then if you bought the album, you got all the album, not on any of the streaming, and then I just released one by one by one after that. And the only trouble was my two fans were saying they had to wait a full album. They have to wait a full album to be released singly to get new stuff. So
You
them
said
poor
two
devils were
fans.
in trouble.
I'm laughing at two fans. I'm not. We had 9 listeners about 15 years ago, and that has spiraled. And I want to say, well, by the way, welcome Spotify and iHeartRadio folks. Thank you for listening. And because of them, I guess I'm getting more
Yeah.
people these days.
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah.
How about that? And you get more listeners. Now, let's start from the beginning. What I wanted to do here, real quick. First of all, well, I'll say what I think about your music and about you in a nutshell. And I gathered this from social media and your sound. I post-punk goth from Ireland. Now, you, Mr. Dillon, I'm going to say this. Bear with me with this. Okay, now if I gather everything from social media, if I'm a novice at this, and I'm not me, I would say I'll use my journalistic, and I do write, so I have to read this here. I'm not really good at just public speaking, especially when I have something to say. Uh, but I use my journalistic pyramid scheme here while referencing all your social media. and your profile, and I come up with this. Bear with me, like I said. Paul Dillon, an avid farmer who recklessly drives go-karts while pelting innocent bystanders who are ignorant to this man's paintball gunslinging accuracy. In order to get to his next gig in Portumna, Ireland, where he sings, plays bass, guitar, drums in the independently dangerous band pMad. Is that close?
Yeah, yeah, you have me succinct there now fairly well. Yeah, and yeah, that's
I'm way off, aren't I?
no, 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 no. I work. You have to work for a living. If
Oh, I get it.
I'd be a lot thinner if I was just doing the music. So I'd be starving pretty well. But
Oh, I get it.
it gives you a bit of a grounding in life, you know. But yeah, look at life is the way it is, and the one thing COVID has a lot to blame for, and it has a
Oh
lot to
yeah.
blame for in PMAD. It gave me the chance to do something that I, wanted to do and always thought about doing, and yeah. But
Is that
life
so?
continues on now again, of course. Then we forgot about it very quick.
So that's cool in a way, not really, but COVID was rough for everybody. And I met a lot of friends that way doing just what you're doing. A lot of bands
Hmm.
came through. But it's interesting. So COVID gave you that push to say, all right, time to do it.
Yeah, it was sort of spring clean, first of all. It was just sort of, let's sit down at time and then realize, Jesus, there's 20 years of recordings there of a riff here and a riff there on floppy disk, if I could even play it and stuff like that,
Ooh,
and CDs
wow.
and all the other different things. Because it'd always be, and even now I'd be recording and singing in the car and recording. And I didn't know it. And it all, amazingly, journaling came out during COVID or whatever this fantastic thing of journaling. I never knew I was doing that all my life because every time I had a little notebook, I'd write down lyrics and then I'd hear a song and I'd think, the way we listen to the Smiths now or whatever it is. I said, "Oh Jesus, was I singing? I was singing that all wrong. That's totally a different meaning." And that now I get it.
Interesting. Uh,
Um,
there's a lot
so
to that in your
yeah,
music too.
possibly, maybe, yeah.
Tonality. I picked up on a lot. You can mean several different things in the same song. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you
Not
picked.
a bit. No, no, no. I see people hear what they hear. I do what I do, and I all I ever did it was to be able to put a CD in my car. Not that cars have CD players anymore, but
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know.
it drives me nuts. I give CD to someone, and he said, "Where did Jesus going to play that?"
Well, it's interesting to say that they've made a weird comeback on Facebook with bands promoting. They're realizing that folks that buy music need
Yeah.
CDs.
Well, most people that are most music listeners, and I've worked it out in life, are just listeners. They're not fans, and it's just on in the background, and they say, "I like that," and it just disappears again, and it goes into a
Uh,
blur. But you and me, I'm a fan of music. I love music, and I get
that's
attracted to certain
I'm only
things.
now
And
dissecting it. Like yeah, right. Like I just like you said, I backpedal now and go back and listen to stuff, and now I'm smart enough to realize what they were talking about.
yeah,
It
yes,
used to
yeah.
be just a riff and a headbang. Now I'm like, wait a second, there's something bigger here. So
And it made, yeah, and it's
I
the
wasn't.
strangest of bands that open your eyes and say, "Geez, they're actually saying something," because it just sounded like they were roaring or they were doing something else, and it was just a good tune, but there's more to
Mm,
it behind it, and
right?
yeah, as you get older and better and smarter,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, you're a good writer as well because you got some twists and turns in there. Where I have to ask, and this is one of those questions. pMad, where does it come from? The name, and that's one of
See,
my favorite shirts of yours back there, the Pepsi symbol.
yeah, I see. It's a great. What am I? Is it for the greatest form of flattery is copying? Yeah, yeah. So is it taken from
That's
a Jesus and Mary chain? Uh,
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you get a Jesus and Mary chain one, I have the upstairs. But anyway, PMAD, yeah. So you Google it and you get this somebody disease or whatever it is, and that doesn't do you any good. And I didn't check that up at the time actually. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm losing a load of fans because this people and a load of people are coming to me that they don't expect. The Pakistani military accounts department is actually PMAD on Facebook as well. So I
oh
get a load of
no.
these Pakistani soldiers must be Googling or Facebooking and saying, "Where's my salary this month?" You've and
And yeah, you just got me in trouble. I
what's
see.
this? What's this guy? What's this Irish fucking Egypt got to do with it? And then a load of people are probably liking the Pakistani military accounts departments instead of PMAD as well. But strange enough, and it's such a bad story. It's Paul Martin Anthony Dillon. It's my name.
Okay. No, I
Simple as
kind of
that.
figured that. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, right.
Paul Mark Anthony
Not as good as
Dillon.
Paul Martin Anthony Dillon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah. The
That's
good
well.
Catholics that we have loads of names, you know.
I'm right there with you. Now you got us in more trouble. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, everything in moderation. Everything in
Exactly.
moderation.
Totally. Totally. We accept everybody here
Oh God,
to
you
a
know.
degree. It depends, of course. How are things in your realm right now? We find you on a good day today?
Look at I am blessed. I have a great life, you know. So talking to you has advanced my day even more.
Hey,
I
I
have a
appreciate
beautiful,
that.
fantastic family. I love talking to people. I meet people every day, different people, and then sometimes I just like to just go into the office not to talk to anyone, you know, and go
Very good.
upstairs, play the guitar, do a riff. We're recording, just deciding on we're going to do a CD for the new album. I'm trying to come up with a name. I've come up with about 20 names for it, and the son says, "No, that's rubbish. That's rubbish. That's rubbish.
Uh,
That's rubbish." So we'll see. And maybe if I can afford a vinyl version, I want to get a vinyl record out before I die as a
well,
memento of me.
hey, well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I saw, yeah, on your site, there's you have CDs or a
I have
CD.
CDs. Yeah, I have CDs of
Yeah.
them. I like the physical type of music as well. And I like YouTube, and I'm an MTV kid or whatever it is. Not kid anymore, but an
I
MTV, and
totally.
the visual aspect of music. And walking in, I would never have known of that. I'm from a small country town in Ireland, and you don't. But you walk into a record store in Dublin or Galway or wherever you went, and then I was just attracted by the beauty of the vinyl and the Andy Dogg's beautiful, weird. Uh, Album covers and
Yes.
hey, geez, I'll take a chance on this. It's £10. That's my livelihood for a week or a month. But geez, it opens your eyes to it, you know, and there's so many albums that do that to me, you know.
Absolutely. I know where I was and I've talked about this here the first time I bought my own record. Actually, my dad took me to a store because I couldn't drive yet. And I had in my hands, I've told the story. In my hands, I had Iron Maiden Killers and I had Ozzy Blizzard of Oz, and I had to make a choice.
Yeah.
12.99 choice, and I'm like looking, and it ended up being Blizzard. I could be a totally different person today. I like Maiden. I love Maiden, but I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But Ozzy just took me and ran away with me, and that was it.
And it is that there's more to music than just that
Uh,
noise in the background, you know,
what's that?
and
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you opened it up and all the lyrics were there
yeah,
for you. I know
yeah,
they do that now on Spotify, but yeah, you had everything. The liner notes. That's how I, find bands like you. You look, see what you're listening to, and where do
yeah,
they get that? And who's this guy? Who's this Trent Reznor guy? What's he? What? Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
start finding things out really early on. Um, Before you came on with my intro, we listened to "Who Am I," which is off of the "Who, Why, Where, What" album, and I love that. It's kind of ghostly. It has a thing. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Um, it just felt good to lead into meeting you for the
It
first
was the
time.
very first, it was my debut single as well. So it was
Is it really?
yeah, yeah, first song on the album, first debut. It's the only song with more than one word in the title.
Wow. Yeah, maybe that's why it stood out right away. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't even realize that till
Yeah,
just
yeah,
now in your whole catalog. Let's see. I have some things here. Some things I put together. It looked like during COVID, I came across this and I had to write it down. Protonaut Studios. You got that
Protonaut Dominic, an absolute genius. Yeah, yeah. So,
because it is
sure.
you, but you work with two other folks or institutions.
No, it's me, and I come up with demos, and I do everything badly and out of time, and all the other different stuff, and I try to get as best I can. And lucky enough, during COVID, everyone was idle, and the world is such. I never even dreamt. Now, Liam gave me a lot of help. Liam Martin, who is with me in the Greeting, our other band, and which
Right, I
is a lot
saw that
more
too. Mhm.
grungier and a lot more commercial and doing well. pMad was to make all the mistakes, so pMad makes the mistakes. The greeting is going to be the touring world, taking over the world band, you know.
That's very
Uh,
smart. That's
yeah,
very
yeah.
smart,
I
and you
fall
have
and break. I,
yeah, you're opening up for yourself,
yeah,
and that's
and
great.
then yes, that's the plan. That PMAD will support the greeting or something like that if we're begging. But Dominic would happen to put an ad up on Facebook, and I answered it. You know, do you want your tracks engineer or production? Hey, Germany is no distance away now, so we've never met actually in person or anything like that. And we just sent it across, and we did "Who Am I" and a few others. And by geez, he got me, which is not easy because I don't run verse, chorus, middle eight, and outro. Everything, anything can happen. Some of the songs do, of course, and he
Yes.
tries to train me a little bit better into it. Maybe we're a little bit more like that in album three, but trying not to follow too much for formula. So Dominic, just really cool guy and great musician and great producer, and turns the song inside out, So
And you, yeah, I like that. There really doesn't seem you have a formula, but you don't have a formula. I like that.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna get, and when I open my email and I see a song of yours, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting no matter what.
And
And
then I get given out to this one, Feeds was the newest song. People,
oh, great
it's
song.
yeah, and then other people then that have listened to a lot of pMad will say it's not got that wall and noise like Sword, or they like the more the heavier stuff. So you could go from gothy, Depeche Mode stuff to metal down back down to
Hmm.
Feed, or I think a bit more Curie or something like that now the Feed is. But anyway,
That's what I love. That's what piques my interest all the time. With that, I should let you. We kind of hinted at it, but how do you explain your music when you pitch it to somebody? Like, how do you
yeah.
go about that?
So you can say what you like, and you can put it in through the AI, and even at that, gee, when I put it, I don't know, what is it, one of the drop tracks or something like they say you can get your AI music listened to, and it'll give you a bit of a blurb on it or whatever it is. And jeez, they came up with three bands that had Coldplay, and if you want, now where are you going to come up with that? Now you might hear Coldplay, or I don't know, I don't, but
I,
and it wasn't meant to be, no slighting that, they're brilliant. Not my thing, but
right,
do.
not my thing. I understand. What's his name is a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, Chris Martin and all
Chris.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure they are. Look at everyone's lovely, the finest deal. Everyone's doing their best is the whole thing. But
Right.
people hear what they hear. So I just basically go along with what I would like to be. So I'm a goth I'm the only goth in the village without the hair anymore as
I
much.
get you.
And I always wanted to be one. I had the boots and the jack coat, and I sweating my arse off in the disco, and they were playing Summer of '69 or whatever it was, and I had my headphones on playing The Cure, dancing around the Egypt. And
It's
I
amazing. That's
go,
not much different than over here. Same thing at the school dance, summer of '69, Brian Adams.
yeah,
We wanted to hear Ministry and actually
there you
Pantera,
go.
but
Yeah, yeah.
you're not going to
Probably
hear
had
that.
ministry and other things as well, and other
The
that's just
Cure,
looking
hey,
at you.
The Cure is awesome.
Uh,
That
oh
new,
yeah.
The Cure, the new one's so good, and I cut you off again.
No, not not a bit. And then I just like post punk, and I think I'm indie rock, post punk. It could be anything, and even some. I use thrash metal sometimes in parts of the songs as well, and
Yes.
I'm a big see who I'm a music fan from Public Enemy to Tom Waits,
Oh wow.
Dead to Institute Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh yeah.
So you're going around, and then you stick in Talking Heads, the Smiths, and all the other ones in. So music, I just love it, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
depends on the day. Everyone depends on the day. What are you into today? I don't know. I can
Yeah.
switch on, yeah.
I like that. I mean, that's the truth. Maybe that's our generation. I don't know. Because we had so many different things to choose from. You can go from Slayer to Duran Duran like in a heartbeat. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you that we don't do it in this house because it happens. It does happen. Duran Duran happens.
Oh, yeah. Coolest band. Really love Duran Duran, and Arcadia. I thought was absolutely fantastic band as well. And Sam
Well,
Le Bon, all
interesting.
cool bands.
I married a Durrani, and
Well,
Arcadia is her least favorite, but she'll listen to it. I'm a big Power Station fan.
there you go. No, yeah, yeah.
I
Power.
love
Yeah.
the first record. There is a second record that's hard to find, which I do have, but I was a fan of when they got a little heavier. When the
Yes, yes, yes.
Durannies got a little heavier. Um, I want to give these kids another taste here from your album, Iron Power.
Ian
Um,
Powers in last album, yeah, the second album.
I'd like to play Opinion if we
Oh,
could.
brilliant! Yeah, everyone has one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we're gonna listen to that real quick, and then we'll get right back with again. I hate when radio shows do this, but they don't say your name enough. Paul Dillon. You can find him on Facebook. Paul Dillon of pMad, folks. And there is a pMad Facebook page as well. Am I
There's Facebook, Twitter, or X, or whatever they call it, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, website. I have all the full gamut of
Okay.
whatever you want to find me on. Yes.
No, I like when people do that early because there are folks that
And
tune out early.
it's at pMad the band. Even though it's just me, I wanted to. It's been like going into a fight. There's no point in saying I'm going to fight you on my own. I have the band with me. I'm coming. I'm coming at you.
That's a
Get a bit
very
more impressive.
that's a Motley Crue perspective right there. All right, folks. Hey, thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Getting worse.
I, I hear you. And that's our cue. We're back. Folks, you just listened to Opinion, and that is off of I Am Power. I'm here with PMAD's, well, I don't want to say only man, but Paul Dillon is the man in charge. And Opinion, is that song about just listening to others' opinions and points of view and taking it in? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, it's actually from taking in, I see with social media and everything and the analytics and all the other different things and the rubbish I'd be flicking through and, as you do and stuff like that. And next thing, you watch one thing or so, and what really gets me is you've talked about something with your wife or something, and next thing it comes up on your frigging phone. I didn't ask for this.
Oh,
That
yeah.
drives me nuts. But so the analytics and what happens then when I see with that is it just keeps sending you down in the same bubble, You just
Yeah.
keep getting the same thing. I actually want to know, why is your man a racist? Why does he hate everyone? Why does he do this? Why does he want to kill people? It's not that I'm going to agree with him, but I want to see, I know the smart people, not the smart people or whatever it is, but I know the people that with my own opinion, within, you're going to have 75% of us agree on the majority of stuff, but why are they radicals on the other side thinking? And they're the ones, and he who shouts loudest seems to always try to win, and often does, which is the silent majority is silent, and the likes of your own, politics just drives me nuts anyway, but I won't get into it. But it's just we need to understand why this lad thinks like that, and they're being a lot of the time they're being used and radicalized and for someone else's benefit, not for their own or anything like that. And they're putting down people to whether it be drugs or race or sex or whatever it is, Yeah. And that's the opinion is you have your opinion, you're right, that's you. Now maybe it could be converted the other way too, but listen to the others, and see why.
Thank you. Yes, listen to the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what you said. Yeah, what is behind all that anger? Where did it come from? I
Hmm.
do get to ask people that sometimes, and sometimes you don't want the answers to that, but at least it explains, and you don't have to ask again. But
Yes, yes.
yeah, but yeah, you're right. Listening and keeping an open mind. But like I've had interactions with people in my own family, and it's just like a sledgehammer comes down. This is how it is. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that's just how it is.
Yeah, it can't be just black and white. Everything isn't, and none of us are. I've worked it out. Not everyone in the world, or very few people, will actually like me, and it doesn't worry me. If you do like me, and I keep telling the kids, go out of the car today and say, I hate that. You can't hate. Don't hate anything. Dislike it. You won't. You'll dislike broccoli. You might hate eating it, but dislike it. But that's fine. But don't stay long enough in its company that is going to hate, and that only drives you nuts. So you're
Yes.
you're 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 fucking yourself up, which is wrong.
You are correct. You
Yeah,
you quoted my grandmother, Grandma Laura said, "Don't use hate. Hate's a very strong word."
yeah, it's
Sure, I've fallen into it, but it's energy seek. It just it
it
sucks the
hurts you
energy.
more. It hurts you more than it hurts the others. And you're only feeding oh their anger, and they're saying I was right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's very self-defeating, very self-defeating. While we were off the air, and I do every now and say off the best conversations happen off the air. We were talking about horror and Pittsburgh, and he said we brought up self-promotion. But first,
Yes.
I got to tell you, John Russo, who's a friend of mine, he's on the label Burning Bowl Publishing, and he we're on the same. This is my new book, so I'm gonna plug it, like you said. It's called Dead Memories.
Dead Memories, get it,
Yes,
David Beatrice, and
I
Dead Memories, the book to read for January, February, March 2025's bestseller,
wow, I need you.
as as what would they say, pMad endorses.
Hey, I appreciate the help here. Any help really, but yeah, it's 13 short stories that'll go all go together. We got everything, witches, warlocks, Aliens, demons, lots of demons, and personal. There's actually 4 of these stories are based on truth. 2 are actually true.
Yeah.
One of which is my story, how we'll just say I almost died, and
Oh,
yeah, it's okay. I was
you're
able.
dead.
This was my way. It was cathartic, to write about it and own it and come out of it, and then I can take this little ditty right here and put it on a shelf, and that's the end of it, and
Yeah.
move on with my life. But yeah,
Well,
very
yeah.
personal.
It's to
You're
come
like,
out at the end of it is the whole thing. Yeah, not to be.
hey, you're giving
I have
up
a
your
song
information. So
for you. Salem is a song I've created, and I was afraid to even call it Salem and the rest of it like that. I'm saying, Jesus, there are enough songs about that. Will the people in Salem hate me and all the other bits of these? But I think it's a fairly cool song in the next album. Yeah.
well, go for it, man. That's right. And you could always make a remix album because you do that too.
Ah, well, I do a bit of messing. Yeah, look, people's it's, that's better than the other shit he does, isn't it? Yeah,
we, we were talking. Oh, that's what we were talking about. Yeah, with John Russo, who's also on my label, though, who
yeah.
wrote
Yes.
original Night of Living Dead with George Romero. This is a little prop I show every now and then. He was in the studio more than a few times, and this is his little
Oh,
tiny vodka bottle that he downed before he sang some tunes, and we recorded some tunes live in here one time.
wow.
And it's on his soundtrack to Uncle John as a zombie. My Uncle John is a zombie. I
Ah,
got to,
cool.
I got to get my head blown off in that movie, which was fun. And this was his bottle. I keep it close by for when he comes by, and remind him.
Deadly, deadly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Now, okay. So where does your inspiration just come from your interaction with people, news, or do you come up with where does it all come from?
Actually, everywhere and anywhere, it's a riff and there are vocals usually come afterwards and try and fit it in and try and pick out and piece it. I have about 3 pages of lyrics and then I have to cut this, cut that, and what'll work and what'll rhyme and things like that. Yeah, look, a lot of it is very personal. It's just that I'm broken. I was too fond of medicine and went a bit cracked and had a great time and loved it and realized. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't do anyone, only myself probably. I didn't do any damage to myself either. And then you'd be worried about, but then that meets with people because if I'm broken, I feel everyone's broken, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah,
then,
you're right. Oh yeah, everybody's got some.
yeah, there's no normal. What is normal? People say, why can't you be normal? What's that? Who wants to be normal? If we were all the same, it wouldn't be much fun, and all the rest of it. I have 6 great friends, and not one of us are the same, but we agree on lots of stuff, and then we have great old arguments on other things and fun. And then the climate and the rest of it. Look at whether you deny climate change or there is climate change or whatever you want to say, I don't mind. The climate has been changing for thousands of years. This happens to be our climate scenario, so we need it's not really directed at climate as much. We need to cop on as a people because you can turn on whatever is no what time's the 9 o'clock news on it. When the 9 o'clock news is on, you nearly want to turn it off after 2 seconds because I remember I don't remember, but back in Ireland, I think there was about one murder in the 60s or 70s, or one or two murders in the 60s, a whole decade. And in the 70s, it increased. Sure, now every day someone's been stabbed and killed and shot and more than yourselves with gunfire. And,
I'm sorry to hear that. That's us. I don't. Yeah, I
Well,
don't
we
have
have
to
it now.
tell you.
You turn on our television now in the news and someone's been stabbed or a woman's been killed by her husband or her boyfriend and female murder is really on the rise over here and stuff like that.
Well,
Um, but
man.
we're still blessed next to anytime I was in Chicago or whatever it is, and you hear the gunshots going, you'd say, all right, yeah, we won't stay too long here now. But
Yeah. No, it's a
and it's
shame.
getting worse and it's getting worse and it's getting worse, and then there's war. But it's all very depressing, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm a really happy man, but I like to get out and just it's I don't know, what would you say? It's not impressing people, but because I can't tell people what to do on that. But if they listen to it, they might say, and the keyboard warriors as well, and all these guys there, would say sword is about the keyboard warrior more than anything else. That I'd like to see you actually meet you on the street and see how good you are. Yeah, but you're willing to talk.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So.
So, well, I didn't. Well, do you feel better after you release a song? Do you have that the catharsis of that? or
Yeah, see,
does it make you?
I've heard it so much before this that it's I suppose it's a relief to get out and hear what people nearly the week before or whatever it is when I'm looking, I send out to different people and say, would you just give me a line on the what do you think of the song, or give me a slight, not even a review, and then someone I'd know, or yourself, I'll send it the next one to yourself and just give me a line and someone says, oh, that's better than his other shit, and that's music, and you just and they get a different feel, and that gives me a great boost because they're not going to send you back. You send it out to 20 people or whatever it is, and you might get three back and say, all right, the others are too pushed, or they don't want to do it because a lot of people don't want to do that. But it's great to get a feeling on that, and then you have something to send out in the email to say, actually, someone I respect thinks this good of it, and because all I ever thought was if there was one person in Ecuador and Mexico or Indonesia listening to the song, that's an achievement. Like
It is. It
you know,
is. That's something I
it's
was going to say. Congratulations on that. That's
you
huge.
know,
That makes you turns your week around when you see shit
higher
like that.
encouragement, and yeah, the stats come in there and who's following who and whatever it is, and you say, "Jeez, you're after clicking with someone over there." Like it's amazing because Chicago have really big following, Boston big following, and then in Mexico City, and it's gas down the road. No one listens to me. you know,
Um,
if
that's
someone's like,
very
you,
interesting.
you'll never be a
Paul,
star in your own town, they say.
Paul, let me tell you. Yes. Yeah. Yes, and yes. If I have a convention outside of my own hometown, I do much better. If
Yeah,
I
yeah,
sell
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
books because I'm new, a new product, we'll say.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
friends and family are reluctant to follow or even listen. I don't know. I think my mother still listens to this. I don't think anybody watches it that I know of. People always ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, well, you could probably check in and find out. But they don't. They never will. So
No,
and
no.
it's okay. We got our own thing. We have our own people. But you know what, Paul? When a stranger in another country comes at you and
Yeah,
says that was brilliant, that means a lot and a lot
huge
more.
encouragement. Yeah, yeah. And you get emails back. I send out 3 or 4 thousand there on my own. I do all my own. People like that we were saying the book and the rest of it. As soon as you release a song, they're saying, "Well, give us your next one." No, I'm gonna have try and do 2 months of promo here in this, please. And I'm gonna because that took me
Ah,
5 years to make that song.
that is the an example of the generation.
Um,
Now,
it's
me,
the
me, me, my,
click,
my.
click, moving
Click,
next,
click, click.
next.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't. Oh, that sounds good. They listen to 5 seconds. I
yeah,
like your method of, and yeah, you're not the only one. I've talked to several, a lot, every musician these days, they hold on to it for a while. They don't flood it, you know.
yeah. I'm trying to cut back further and further on the gap, and then the greeting is helpful because in between it was sort of a pMad and then the greeting, and now I've done we're doing a collaboration with Lunar Pats, and well, I've done one with Think, an Italian artist. We've done one and
Cool.
doing it with
Awesome.
Lunar Pats and Kill Toys. So this is interesting one actually. I send them a drum beat from pMad. They send me a drum beat from Lunar Pats and Kill Toys, and there's going to be 9 songs. So I create 2 songs from
I love
their
it.
drum backgrounds, and there'll be 9 songs in an album. But 3 songs will have the same drum beat, but there'll be completely different alternations in our head. So that's coming up, and
I
that's
love
between
it.
Greece and Australia and Britain and Ireland and as gas, yeah. So I'm trying to get
Now,
that together as well.
I'm gonna say, I want it now. I want to hear it now. Make sure I get a copy or
Yeah,
something.
so
You
I
send
don't know
me
which way to go. I hear the drum beat, and then I sort of went shoegazy of a sort.
oh, there's
Yeah,
that.
I don't know why I did it.
I
Anyway,
don't. We don't. I guess we played some shoegaze here without knowing what it was called.
right, yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
so
we'd be
that,
from my bloody Valentine and all that sort of.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Oh my
Um,
God, that's fun. Yeah, and you're up on your music too. I like that. That's something else too. A lot of people my age are still listening to the same shit that they were listening to back then without realizing some of those bands have new albums too.
actually, I was amazed because I have 2 radio shows now, the best of Irish indie and the best of world indie, and
Cheers.
I do these shows, and I get sent so much music as well. And I stopped listening to music up to when your man started coming out with the guitar on his own and whinging about the girlfriend breaking up with him again, or then Jesus, and they became everybody was doing that. That I put me off music, and then I missed about 10 or 15 years there of really
Yeah.
good 2000s music, and I'm catching back in it now, buying albums
Well,
and stuff.
good. Yeah.
But on the show, the new music that is out now, music didn't die at all. It's really going well. It's just you have to put yourself out there for it.
Well, that actually what we were talking about earlier in Mood too. On the album Who, Why, Where, What, there I the song Youth is on there.
Youth, yes, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
And that one I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget to tell you or ask you about that. That one seems to be uplifting.
Yeah, it's
Um,
different. It was what would you do if you went back, and if you weren't that spotty guy in the corner afraid to ask the girl out with the jumper, would you do anything different if you were that age? If you knew what you knew now, you would, but
mm,
she'd
would
probably
I have
still say no to me anyway,
would I
so it
have
makes sense.
picked up the Iron Maiden album instead of Blizzard of Oz? I wonder right away. Let's
There
see.
we go. Yeah.
I don't know. Dead Milkmen, Def Leppard. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did both. So.
Well, Maiden are back. Are Maiden coming back now? It's selling big, expensive ticket concerts now as well.
Yeah, our guys
Or
are all
Sabbath?
getting.
Is it Black Sabbath maybe coming back? Actually, don't know.
Yes, Birmingham. They're doing that show with Ozzy and all four,
Yes, yes, yes,
and a
yes.
huge lineup. We don't know who's going to be where and what because there's all
Yeah.
kinds of guests jumping in, probably singing a song. Ozzy will probably do 3 songs. I don't know.
Wheel them out and hope for the best. Huh?
Right. And I mean, right now, as we speak, right now, playing down the road for me, the Led Zeppelin documentary is out.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I've heard amazing things. It was out 2 years ago and they brought it back because they had to re-edit and now it's back out. I don't know if you're a Zeppelin fan or not.
Yeah, I have all the albums. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh Jesus,
And
yeah.
I,
It's more
that
door. I'd be more doorsy than the Zeppelin, but they're probably
I
a bit too arty
I
then
hear
maybe.
that. I hear that in your music. I do believe that. Zeppelin was probably the first progressive thing I heard, and I was way too young to understand what I was hearing. But my
Mm,
dad brought me up on Beatles, and that
yes.
and
I
that
was
was
Velvet
better.
Underground on that side then. And the
Yeah,
Beatles and the
Beatles,
Velvet
right?
Underground was more.
Beatles were fun compared to what he was listening to otherwise, which was doo wop. Doo
All
wop. I
right.
still can't do it, but I understand where it is.
Yes.
Anyway, I can't. I'm not.
Everything has their place. Every place. Yeah.
But youth. Okay, so what I was writing,
Youth. Yes.
like it has an unexpected, uplifting rhythm and beat. And
Mm.
like, were you in a less dark place? Dare I say,
Oh,
happy when you wrote that one?
no, it's strange. It's just there was 8 songs there, and I decided those 8 are the ones I'm going to go with, and whatever they are, and the same with. Then I sort of tried to turn it in the remix. I sort of made a Daft Punk version of it. Thought it was in and out and dropping and coming and going, and I'm a really happy guy. I'm a really nice, happy guy. I like all these things. It's just it's therapy, I suppose, for me or whatever. That maybe I'm dragging everyone else down. Upbeat, and
No, you're
it
not.
is a very popular song, yes, and I do like it, and but I like all I do. I wouldn't put it out if I didn't like it, and if someone else does, I'm privileged then and delighted. But otherwise, it doesn't worry me.
So
You know?
I'm watching your goth meter, and you're right in between Morrissey and Robert Smith. I'm not
Right.
sure who's going to win that fight, so I have to ask you, if you had one, Robert Smith or Morrissey, which one do you go
I was
to?
just watching both of them earlier on this evening, and whatever his Facebook reels and things like that, and
They hate each other too.
they certainly do. And here Morrissey, I actually heard him. He was on an interview with Michael Parkins or something, and with George Michael, and he was talking about Joy Division, and he nails Joy Division, just totally over. He said, "I get the music, all right, but the whole ethos of what they were presenting was just fake and all the rest of it, like so."
Rough.
Which, but he preferred New Order to Joy Division and the rest of it, yeah. But
Wow.
Morrissey is well able to talk, and I love Morrissey, and people, not everyone does, and I like Marilyn Man. People cancel things, and people taking down history
Yes.
statues and places. Are you
I can't.
denying history, lads?
I get so mad. They were gonna can I understand Manson he was bad. He was bad to begin with, but they were gonna cancel him before that album dropped. I wanted the fucking album first. Don't cancel it for God's sakes. And
Yeah, let us
whatever.
hear what he has to say anyway, or like
Yeah.
put him down a general down in Texas or whatever it is. Like, do you think everyone was, what did you do in the 16, 17, 1800s? You survived.
Yeah, the
Like,
Iron Maiden was real back then.
yeah, exactly. And even watching, I was going through, I was saying, the young lad was saying, what will we watch? We watch a movie, and then I stuck on, I said, the Mooney, not the Moonies, oh Jesus, what's the one anyway? The next thing is a guy hanging in the cell as the opening scene of it. I said, no, we're not doing that.
What?
The Goonies.
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
no, we're watching that. And next thing I said, look at Blazing Saddles. That's the one. Who was
Ah, yes.
Well, it's 2 seconds to get that off as well. You can't be listening to that. So
Right.
what we grew up with, why deny history? And
No,
what you
I
need to
know.
do is learn from it. But the trouble is, by you denying history, it happens again and again and again. And you have the stock exchange up and down because it suits people to become millionaires and billionaires now and trillionaires. And that's why they want these things to repeat.
Not at all. It's yeah, you're right. But yeah, you're right. 100. You just said it. But to cancel things, I mean, just turn it off or walk away. Now, if
Uh,
it's if it's vile and
it's like the
it's the
hate.
law, that's different. But yeah, what's that? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's the hate thing that they're doing to other people and canceling them and like as you say, walk away. That's fine. If you don't like me, you don't have to listen to me. That's fine. Turn off this podcast. Don't do turn off the podcast. Jesus, they listen to David anyway. Whatever about me, turn me down. I'd always say. But and even when I tell my friends, I like to get streams. So if you don't have any interest, stick me on the playlist or whatever it is and put it on repeat, but turn the volume down to zero. That's okay. At least I'm getting the streams and the numbers.
Hey, I like your style, man. I don't have a problem with that at all. Not at all. Because I know I run ads because I again I'm with Spotify and iHeartRadio now, and there's ads. They work like speed bumps, and not everybody wants to hear that. I can't help that.
No,
It's there, but don't cancel me because of it. So 2021, you did the Broken EP, correct?
yeah,
And
yeah.
now I'm kind of confused on that because I wanted to play Feed off of that, but it seems Feed is just a new single for you right now, but it's
Feed,
from.
no, Feed is going to be from the third album.
Oh, okay. I was
So
confused.
Broken was just uh so no more than I'm
My fault. My
a
fault. Yeah,
stu
you were.
I'm an Excel freak and I am a studier of other people doing promo better than I'll ever do. And it was Who Am I? And then I came out with Medicine and I put them on the Medicine CD
There it
and
is. Okay.
just a double A-sided single because every time then we went on with Broken EP and I stuck Broken onto it and you had oh Jesus it was horror when there was something on it as well. Oh no, Who Am I? I Am is on it actually. The other,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And so I put that on it because I Am is not for everyone. And then it got a big following for a while, as in what it was story it was saying. And then I was found it was a bit much. It was a mantra. It's just
There you
I
go.
am me, I am me, and that was the idea.
And
But it
Feed.
was pre.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry, but it was that's the way music was going. It was, you know, if you'd missed the first single, if you missed the first single, then if I put out the second single, at least you got the two of them. If you missed the first three singles, you got four of them. You had something catalog to come back to, rather than just saying,
Yeah, very old
yeah.
school. They're very old school.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
that.
that's the logic of it. And then the
This goes
album
back to
after that
like
came.
cassette single days, even if and sometimes the B sides were better than.
Yeah, and most new, so many new order, and I love 12-inch versions. I've created a load of. Sisters was the first one, and that was 8 minutes long, and I cut it back down to a radio edit of four.
Love
And
that
then we
song. I
have
love that song, sir.
a lot of
That's
people
might be
do.
my favorite. We're gonna go out with that later, but
Yeah, a lot of people think that's the best. Yeah,
there's something
I
haunting
peaked
about
too
that.
early. I peaked too early.
Oh, don't say that. Yeah. Nah, never say that. That's like the saying. That's like the Sex Pistols saying they peaked too early.
Yes, yes,
They're
yes.
in. They were
Still
out.
going and still going.
They're still going. You're very different. Now Feed you released in January last month,
Yes, yes, yes.
and I don't know why I thought that was Unbroken. I know better. I actually own
I
both.
know that well. I know that well.
Feed is amazing, and we're gonna give that to them right now. We'll give them a little taste of Feed, and we're gonna come right back here with Mr. Paul. Oh, hold on here, Paul Dillon. It's not like I forgot your name. My computer decided to not listen to me.
Seas.
Yeah, it did. It did a little thing, but yeah, there we go. All right, now we're getting somewhere, and I apologize.
Oh,
But
don't apologize. Never apologize.
we'll be right back with Paul Dillon of
Ask
pMad.
for forgiveness.
I know, right? It's just You know what it is too? I'm going to tell you right now because I'm hoping you don't see. You could see that I told you there's a bug flying around in here, and it went right into the camera just now. And I'm like, I'm trying to kill it, and I can't. I tried to click on it. You can't do that. I found that out. But we'll be right back here with Paul Dillon. All right, folks, friends and fiends, thank you for coming back. Paul Dillon here, pMad, and you just heard Feed, and that song struck me really, really hard when I needed it to, when I was trying to find some inspiration to write some horror. You saw the book earlier.
Good.
This song, it's something I would write if I could. It's very timely, ghostly with like an impending warning. I don't know if that was meant to be that way. Is there a warning in that song?
Yeah, we need to feed ourselves. Get away from when you turn on the news, there's another war, there's another shotgun, there's a bus crash. Oh, Jesus. When I was writing it out, I could have went on for, and then someone I had a, my first 100 emails went out, and the poor old devil that did, they read the spiel that I send them on for the show, and I listened to it. I was listening to the show and all. I try to listen as many as I can, and Mixcloud is great for getting back. But I was listening to it, and oh Jesus Christ, that's going to depress everyone to hell now. That bit of speed. The song isn't as depressing as that, but um, so I actually cut back lots of the rubbish because you couldn't be telling listeners all that; it'd be too heavy. Um, but it's look, it's hard. Life is hard. Feed yourself, look after yourself. I would say hope is medicine would be my sort of thing. If we don't have hope, we have nothing. Look after yourself because you're the most important thing too. You're if I'm not happy or good or in myself, I'm no good to my family and I'm no good to the other people that need me and things like that. So that we need to feed ourselves and just separate. And sometimes it means being on our own and not being near anyone for an hour or whatever it is. Get in the car, go get your coffee, and leave them space as well.
That's
Because life can be, Jesus, that. What if you look at the news? It just, oh,
yeah.
and you can't do anything about it. But it sort of gets into you.
Oh, it gets in your DNA. And you touched on something here that, and I tell people when they're listening to this, wherever they're listening to it and when, it could be the middle of the night, could be at work, could be while they're driving. I don't know. But at some point, you and I probably, we like our alone time. That's when we create. But there are times, when you're somewhere you don't want to be and you're alone and you feel alone. But when you write when I listen to a song like Feed, I'm like, oh, somebody else feels like that. And maybe right now, maybe there's 100,000 people feeling that way right now. We all feel, but for me, it heals. It helps me. I'll use that song Feed, I'll put it in the background and I'll go write something or I'll go exercise or do something
Oh,
that is, that, and I don't feel alone doing it.
yeah.
I think that's the experience we're losing. We're all together in social media, but we're all not listening to the same thing at all.
Or even hearing the same thing that's been said. You're just
Right.
one guy is taking it in and not understanding it
Oh,
as well as the next lad is, and
did you
yeah,
say it? Did you say it just then? How we process things.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but hope. And I struggle with hope. Uh,
yeah.
but then I do things, and I don't know. This is kind of funny and timely. My dad's 80th birthday just passed, and I took him to see Star Wars on the big screen, A New Hope, because they were doing the film and doing the symphony with the film in the background. So the Pittsburgh
Oh,
Orchestra here in
very cool.
Pittsburgh,
Oh,
yeah,
deadly.
played John Williams to a T.
We
Every
went to see
ounce.
John Williams there a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Oh
brilliant.
my God. But it was Star Wars A New Hope. I brought my dad. He loved it. And seeing that again, it brought me back to 1977, and I was returning the favor for him because he took me and he didn't remember. He's just like, I don't even remember that. And I was like, Dad, because Empire Strikes Back was your favorite. You watched that one over and over again. Anyway, but yeah, that whole New Hope thing and having
Yeah.
it, I don't know. Does our music that we listen to, does it give us hope? I mean, I guess it's a segue from the
No,
dark.
but your horror and subculture and all the other different things, that is your feed. That it doesn't matter. Some people love steak and other people are vegetarians and other people do other sort of mad things. That's your feed. It doesn't matter. If it brings you happiness, you're not hurting anyone. It's dreamland. It's you. It's me. I have
Yeah.
different things to it. I prefer a comedy to a horror, but I still watch a horror and say, oh, geez, I'd be looking like being on the plane. Where are the exits first before I go into a horror movie? That's
Yeah,
it. So
there
it's
is
your
that.
feed. What feeds you is all that matters. It's not anything to do with it's dark. That's not the problem. I wear black and so people say give some nice submission music to something and they said say three interesting things about yourself. Sure, what? There's nothing interesting about me, but I wear black and I wear black all day. But I could be possibly wearing colored jocks and socks as well, red.
Yeah,
So
there you
that's
go.
the mystery of it. So
Yes.
whatever feeds you, it's not dark or bright or there's no such thing because there's a Lebanon Hanover, a band that I like. Yeah, yeah. Not every sadness is rebellion these days
Yeah. Yeah.
because
It always
everyone's
was. I
everyone's
would get
gonna
in trouble. I would get flack for wearing black all the time. It's all I wore in high school. It's all I
yeah,
wore later
yeah,
on. And I still, today,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
always. And I can't explain that. I don't know what that is. It doesn't make me sad.
No,
um,
no, it shouldn't. And
but
but when you see them on Instagram and all these things on the filters, and if you look behind the camera, which they do, sometimes, and behind the scenes, like how fake is that?
yeah.
And uh, are they happy? They're saying they are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Fakeness is so vivid. It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
vivid. We
Yeah.
can't fake it. We
I'm
could
not
try.
able to. I'm
We
not
could
able
try.
to.
I don't know. I don't know. I think when you're genuine, you kind of, I just admitted to liking Duran Duran while wearing a Headbangers
Yeah.
Ball t-shirt. Genuine
But
fake.
honesty will break out, and it's probably a few things. Honesty is probably the least respected thing in the world because you're probably going to say something not so nice about someone, and then yeah, there's a cop on we call it over here, common sense. It's the least common thing in the world. So you just sort of
So you might be the man to ask. Why did you and I and people like us, why do we gravitate towards the dark music? Like I love, Trent Reznor, things like that.
yeah.
Downward Spiral, his darker album. And I always talk about Godflesh here. That band
But
makes me happy. I love Godflesh, and it shouldn't make me happy, but it does. Why
but,
do
but
we?
people that listen to happy music are on Prozac or something, or
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
taking the drug. This is it's a leveler. It's nothing. And like again, you still go Rio, Rio on the edge of the boat, and you're still or hungry like a wolf. You're saying, "Jeez, yeah, that's fucking brilliant." And it's a different because you can go up and down. These people just stay up. You can't be up all the time. And that's drugs were never my thing or anything like.
I
But
think
people
you
that
hit
have
it.
be on the up, they have to take downers, don't they? So to get
Yeah.
back down, for us, we level ourselves. We're a bit more self-leveling, and I
That's
would believe that.
I never looked at it that way. But you're right. They're always up, and they can't admit when they're down, and that's
It's
that's a
very
problem.
hard. And my son as well, and he said, "Oh, this pre-puberty is a fucking killer."
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Pre-puberty and all the rest. And I said, yeah, and he wants to be happy all the time. That is not the way it works. And we had a good chat about it. And he just said, you cannot, if you're up there all the time, the fall is just so much further down. And you just got to, um, you know, it's, okay, people come and go from us. People will hurt you. People will do these things. If you're not able and strong enough for that, you're going to find yourself in a big mess. And,
Yeah.
and I think the darker side, it's just because I can go up then from there. Everything is up, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. And you can only go up. It's all frightening to me that when people are afraid, like when they are afraid to express their emotions, there's something. I mean, I can see through it. I'm sure you can too.
Yes. I know I don't need people going around hugging me and kissing me and telling me, you're brilliant and all that sort of stuff. Be honest and straight, just the fakeness I'm not good with. Um, no, it's just, yeah, look at shake hands, you get on, talk like two men or whatever it is, and men and women and stuff. I like realness. I like realness.
Well, on that note, live. Do you guys play live? Have
No,
you played?
once pMad has been live, yeah, and sort of a COVID live thing, and really enjoyed it. And it's just, I love going to concerts. I'm a music gig goer and all the rest of it. And I like to give. It's for me to stand on the stage and do it on my own. It just seems like uh, you poor people. You, you have to look at me singing or whatever it is and pressing a few buttons because you can't do all the music yourself on the stage, you know. So hopefully the plan is like again that the pMad would support the greeting or something like that, and the lads would be able to do a bits and pieces like that, you know.
That sounds awesome. I'd love to see it. But
Yeah,
see, I like that transition though. I was always about like early on, we've talked about this ad nauseum here. Ministry with sympathy days as opposed to like I like that transition from when it was just synth pop to the
yeah,
metal that it is now.
yeah.
Not all bands can do that and it works. You know,
Yeah,
it was just
and you can't stay the same. Like this, throwing out the same stuff the whole time. It just regurgitated pop and formula stuff now into it. Yeah.
I hear you, man. This is here's a question for you. Do you creatively, when you make music, or maybe just sitting writing, but do you leave what we call Easter eggs in the songs for people to find down the road, like, oh, that's what he meant by that? Like, do you leave stuff for them to find later, like a word search type of thing? But that
Yeah, I'm not sure I do it on purpose, but it seems to happen sometimes. Yeah, that to
okay,
say, Jesus, where does that line come out or whatever it is? And it was
okay,
sort of,
that's part
um,
of it. So you do it to yourself too.
yeah, as much as, but I have 3 pages, we'll say, of lyrics, and I was trying to work out what'll work in there, and black and white and red and green and medicine and and then there's a few other things in there, you know, and just like, geez, yeah. And then there's little things about you'll cry when I die and sisters and stuff like that, and what shoes you'd wear, because about my sister actually who died young, but you know she always wore her shoes, and people just came to see what shoes she'd wear at her funeral, you know, and things like that, you know. So it's just our friends, we wonder what shoes are you going to put on her now because she loved her shoes so much, you know. But it's things, but it's like all of it. People hear what they hear, you know, and I can say this song means this, but people can take it any other way they want, and that's perfectly fine by me. It's if it's what as long as they say Jesus is okay, that's okay, that's good. Then you can do because people hear Simple Minds in excess. I don't hear any of it, but
I like
you
it. I love it excess. And
yes, yes, and I'd be a big early Simple Minds fan. I really love Simple Minds and bass and
Simple
stuff.
Minds, for me, came later because I hated the radio stuff. It got killed here. They're about the
Yeah.
deep tracks. They've got stuff on their albums that were never released in America, and
No,
you had to
I'll go
die.
back to New Gold Dream and before that, Sons of Fascination and Empires and Dance and oh Jesus, brilliant
Amazing stuff. I know
early
people
stuff.
that
Yeah,
have seen them live and said they're one of the best live shows ever.
yeah, yeah. Before the when they went on, Don't You Forget About Me and all that sort of stuff. I lost it after that then, but
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one. But yeah, I,
the only one that I think got better, the only artist that's got better and better all is Tom Waits from Closing Time all the way up there to Badass and
very, very
Bad as Me
popular.
and
He's
wow,
very
Bone
inspirational.
Machine is my favorite album nearly of all time. Like so,
I can't think. I hear musicians quote him all the time, always.
yeah, yeah.
What I want to ask you, sir, what Paul, what are you listening to currently? Is there anything right now that's in rotation with you that's
There's,
new?
well, we went out bought a few CDs there. City Remains, an Irish band, and then another one. Big Boy Foolish, another Irish band, just the CDs and.
Okay.
Um, French band Solitaire.
You
Like I
recommend?
said, I got sent so much music. I could have 100 songs a week. Like no more than you now, less than you
I'm
now.
sure you do.
100 songs a week. No, the problem is, and the one thing that we keep trying to tell people is, and you know some more than me. I don't get that much music. My shows aren't that long, but people not tagging their music correctly and doing silly things, not helping themselves, because
Uh,
radio stations just delete the music if it's not
yeah.
tagged. PMAD dash feed. It's not hard, and put in a few bits of information on it. Gets deleted, and then producing. PMAD is definitely not the best band in the world, and it won't be. Doing Hollywood Bowl or anything. But we are available if needed, of course. Yes, indeed. We will sell a few
Well,
tickets for it.
what you said.
But production of the actual quality of music that comes in, you say, geez, that's a really good song. But then it's like, I know you can. there's garage rock and there's this and that, but you have to get it up to a certain standard for radio, and it's just that next level that you don't need to hear that echo in the back and just hollow sounds. And you can do it in your bedroom, but you need to use the tools around you to make it that bit further on. And that's what gets PMAD ahead further. Way better bands aren't getting above me because it's just you have to put in the extra bit of effort. And I've songs there now, they're done 12 months and not releasing them yet, but still probably just doing a little bit of tweaking. But they're well produced, and Dominic, of course, is the man for
Oh,
that,
definitely.
approaching that.
Oh, absolutely clean cut. But you piqued my interest there. What's one like a big marketing error that you've noticed some of these younger acts doing?
Oh,
Is
you just even just your this Facebook, your Facebook.com, and look at a lot of young guys are all over on Instagram rather than Facebook or whatever it is, so they have their name, but then they could be called trying. We're lucky enough was at PMAD the band all the way through everywhere. And no matter
Mhm.
where you go, it's at PMAD the band. But when
Yep.
you were on Facebook, and you probably when you're trying to tag people now on Facebook and they haven't claimed their profile page, and
Yep.
it's facebook.com/profile.ph
Yep.
13654. I said,
Yep.
I can't tag you, man. I want to promote you. And it's not for your benefit.
This is why I
It's
asked
for
you.
their benefit.
That's a
And
common frustration. Gathering the
right.
all the members and the band all together in one. It's hard because they're scattered. Maybe some of them don't want to be associated with the band. This is my thing on my. This is what I do,
Yeah.
But there's no unit,
But at
universal.
least claim the band page and then try and have a unified, even if it's a different name altogether from your band or have some part of your name XX, PMAD XX, but have it all the way across and on all the tags. So you're just going across and making things because these people are doing it. If you make life hard for them, they're doing it. Majority of people are volunteers. There's not
Mhm.
many two professional DJs that are playing PMAD around the place, like, and they're doing it. They want to. They like the song, but you have to make it easy. And I've done it myself now a few times when I go searching, and it's been a choice between two songs. I said they're both good, but like this other crowd are going to get the benefit of it because they'll be tagged all across the three networks or whatever it is, and the
Right.
14 radio stations will play it. It's better for because the other radio stations want to tag you as well, and then put them into the pressure of that.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I asked you. I have that frustration. Yeah, just what you said, and the
Yeah.
marketing, I really wish it wasn't all about the streams. I mean, that's we got to deal with that now.
Yeah.
But I don't know how well these. I know artists are not getting paid by Spotify all that much.
But
It
it's an
takes.
introduction. It's the rabbit hole that you end up on. If you're on a playlist, it's not. The streams come in the strangest of places. Like you'd see 33 here, 20 there, 800 there. And it's amazing where they come from. And it's this we're not going to be million streamers, and that's just the underground. And it's like Nirvana. I always say when I seen Nirvana and Sonic Youth in Dublin years ago, and
Oh man, you're so.
and it was just before Nevermind was coming out, Bleach,
Oh
and
wow.
then Nevermind took off, and then I lost all interest. The usual. When they become popular, you move and you say, right, what's the next underground? And that was now I'm listening to it now since whatever it was. It wasn't my favorite stuff in Nirvana, but that sort of way, Sonic Youth and
Yeah.
when they become popular, people move away from them, and you want to find the next because I'm a big Pixies fan and Dinosaur Jr. and all these different things like that.
It's a
And
game. Yeah, it's a game. But you
but
lose. You lose if you don't stick with some of your bands too.
yes, 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 and then you end
Yeah.
up coming back in again as well and stuff like that. But
Exactly.
um,
Just what you said, the swiping, and not paying attention. And that's the
yeah.
mentality right now. So,
But you go on to Groover, you go on to any of these things, and you get an email back, and it costing you money to do it, and then they have to listen to the song for 30 seconds. So by the time all you've heard me is moan in the first 30 seconds a lot of the time. It's just that is not the best part of the song a lot of the time. It's an introduction. You need to get in there, and then people say, "Oh, I don't like your voice." That is my fucking voice. I don't care. I can't change it. And then, there's too many effects in your vocals. And I said, hold on now. I'm after hearing a rap song there that's number one or some other band, and there's more reverb and delay and all the other things on it.
Autotune is
Auto-tune, and way more than I'm doing. Yeah, it's one thing I don't have is auto-tune anyway, but as you may have noticed.
I heard something horrifying just yesterday. I listened to a lot of satellite radio, and on Eddie Trunk's show, he holds the torch here with the I hate hair metal, but
Yeah,
for the 80s metal that was out. And he was talking, sitting behind a soundboard with a guy at a festival, and there were some guys that came off the stage, like Jonathan Davis at Korn, who nailed it without any auto tuning,
yeah,
doesn't need any effects. He walks off stage, another band comes on. I'm not going to say who it was, and this guy is known for his singing, and the guy at the soundboard hit a switch so that Eddie could hear what he sounds like without the auto tuning, and he said it was a
yeah.
disaster, an absolute disaster. So
Yeah.
you're relying on these things, like, yeah. So
But that's
I don't know
okay.
who it was, but I think it was a band, in that in the upper echelon like Corn, not, but
Yeah.
Jonathan nails it. I love him. So
But that's okay too because you have to give the customer something as well, and that's probably what was used in the studio and different things like that. And that's what people came. They didn't come to hear the other stuff as well. So it's no more than you mentioned there. Now the funniest thing I do find is because PMAD ends up in strangest of shows, and
I'll
and
bet.
like, maybe it's quite cheery, but with death metal and black metal and all these things. And next, I'm listening to the show and and
Yeah.
you were talking about hair metal now, like or hard rock. We went to the final market with the young lad and we were looking through it and they said hard rock and it was Bon Jovi and it was you know
Can't do
and
the
it was at the time, so if what was hard, AC/DC, the heaviest of metal. Sure, it's only girls' blouse stuff now a lot of the time, it's compared to some of the stuff that's coming out.
Oh, I know. They all
Then
live.
there's so many sections in each genre then as well, then that it's like that. You were saying, what was I at the start? Post-punk, gothic, indie rock. Yeah, that's what I am.
Yeah, I mean, now it's just kind of like, band, just go for band. Don't even say what genre you are anymore. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Look at
guilty
that.
of it, but
People.
we are guilty of it because you do want to know if a band sounds like The Cure or the Beach Boys before you go
Yeah,
see them. You want to know what.
yeah, yeah. And people paying on. If you haven't heard of PMAD before, people want to know. Well, it sounds a little bit. You're going to get a bit of The Cure or Dead or whatever. This is the influences anyway. Whatever about you here at the end of it is another story.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too. Is there anybody musically, musician or otherwise that you'd want to work with? Anybody famous, if you could, dig, if you will, the picture, if you could.
Never meet your heroes or any of those things.
All right. I kind of wanted to hear you say that.
It's not that I don't want to be flattered if someone said do that, but it's not for
Yeah.
me to say. I wouldn't even have the ego to say because I love so much music and the rest of it, and I'm a fanboy altogether, big time. Because I meeting Irish bands over here a lot closer, of course, and went to a concert and people come up to you and, "Are you PMAD? Yeah? And how
Yeah.
do you know me? I wanted to go over and talk to you. I was too scared, So, and I that sort of stuff, I'm just a
It's
music fan and I
no,
love it. So, no, no,
music,
I wouldn't dare to even ask. If someone did ask, I'd think about it, but otherwise, no.
that's
No.
that's the beauty of doing this show. I get to directly ask musicians what they're listening to. And boy, did it turn me on to a few things. Just recently, I don't know if you remember American band Cold, Cold, Cold. They're kind of metal alternative rock, just good rock band.
Yeah.
I had Lindsay Manfredi on here.
I'll
Manfredi.
stick him on the show the next day now. I'll have them the best of words indeed.
She's a bass player. She turned me on to Dead Poet Society. And there's two. You have to be careful. It's Dead Poet Society. And since that show I did with her, I went down this rabbit hole with this band. And
There
it's
you are.
yeah, I find new stuff because of you guys. And now I'm looking those CDs you held up. I'm really curious what you got there. And I'm gonna ask you about those
Yeah, they're
bands.
different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Big Boy Foolish now would be Legends of Irish. They go back. They have to go back to oh, Elephants. Oh, anyway, five go down to the sea, and there's about five or six different bands they had, and different. Yeah, definitely post punk. Yeah.
I'm liking that. Well, this is a part of the show. You should probably tell everybody where to find your stuff.
Yeah, you can find it in all the usual places, like I said, PMAD, PMAD, and we have a big M in the middle of it there to say that's a branding, and it's at PMAD the band. on any of the social medias and Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, Deezer. I get reports from all these different things that are two people in deepest Sri Lanka have listened to it. And I say, wow. And we're on Bandcamp, of course, and YouTube.
Hello, Sri Lanka. We're gonna say hello to them. I have friends
Oh,
there.
and everywhere. Indonesia, big fans over there in Indonesia, Japan. And now and again, you get a couple of plays from China, and it's like, what's going on? Um, yeah, and run Bandcamp. You can get the CDs, and you can get no more than your book. Where is your book on Amazon and all the other?
Well, Fairly Dark Productions. You get all the episodes here, as well as if you're into horror, folks. Yes, the books are
Yeah.
there. Fairlydarkproductions.com.
And where can people get this show on Spotify and iHeart? You said, and
iHeartRadio, Spotify. You can go on Facebook. I don't do X that much, but I'm trying to get back into that. I always say
yeah, it's hard to keep everywhere. Like,
YouTube,
yeah,
but we're on YouTube now because the co-hosts that I have, both between Erica and Jess, when they're here, they got me kind of into doing the YouTube and having the visual thing. I don't
yeah, yeah.
that, but
Well, when you might as be, I always find you might as well do the two things as once. And if you only ever use the one, you might as well have the two. It's great. And
correct.
it's the visual thing. Yeah, it's hard to go back and because like that for videos and stuff. And it's amazing who does watch. I put up there and I'll share this whenever it's up. And people are going, geez, that was an interesting point you came up with. Did I say that? Did I? People do watch it, so it's funny. I have to
Yeah,
be
and you
careful what
forget
I
what
say then,
you forget what you say sometimes, and that comes back at you too.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Do you have baseball caps with PMad on it? That'd be a really nice piece of merchandise.
yeah. Possibly. I haven't thought of those actually. Got
Or
some.
the old, how about the
I
old?
had some beanies. Beanies. I had a few
Oh, that's
beanies,
cool. All right, that
uh,
works. I'm gonna have to look into that. Or the old
hoodies and stuff.
patches.
Yeah. See, I have. I'm going around with my stickers. I got
Stickers.
So people send me a few pictures of I stick them up on light posts around the country, up in the cities, and people send me pictures of if they see them in the city,
Excellent.
So it's
Excellent.
great.
I love it. Oh well, I gotta get my hands on those too. So it looks like I'll be
I'll
getting
get them across to you. Don't worry. I'll get
sure.
your all your details, and we'll have CDs and t-shirts and stuff flying across to you there.
Definitely one of these if you're
Oh,
into it.
definitely. Well, we'll get
There's
on to
pictures
Amazon for that.
too. There's pictures. I had a photographer
Oh,
do
good.
shots that kind of that's how it started. She took pictures and I wrote stories that about the pictures. It turned it from that to something much broader.
There
So
you go. Yeah,
there
yeah.
is that.
Well,
It happened.
see, there is that picture tells 1,000 words, and is it telling the same? See, you can deflect people away then from the story a little as well. It's what is he saying extra? It just puts a different layer on things, more than
A big shout out to Tanya Mendez who did my photography on that. She's great. She
there
doesn't
you go.
like, and you'll see in the book, she didn't want to be acknowledged. She didn't want to write a bio. I was like, what are you doing? Please.
Yeah.
But but we're gonna go out with sisters. And the reason I want to do that, it's very haunting. There's something. Can you tell me what that or do you want to divulge what that song's about?
Of course, yeah. Well, it's not necessarily. It's just my sister, I suppose.
Oh,
And she died at 42
oh,
in 10 minutes. Just had a pain in her back and just dropped dead. And we were in shortly afterwards. And my sister's a nurse, and you could do no more for her and all the rest of it. So they call it SADS, but I think it was a clot. But anyway, I'm not going to argue with the doctors. She's not here now, and she hasn't come back to tell us how great it is on the other side yet. But she was a big shoe fan. She had hundreds of pairs of shoes. That was her thing. She was a hairdresser, but that was where the line comes in. They come to see what shoes you wear. And yeah, look at it's just haunting song, I suppose. It's just
I'm sorry. I was not aware. I would.
no, 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 no. Sorry, geez, how do we know any of these things? No, no, this is what it's see, the day you die really is when people stop talking about you. And
That's a very good point.
when people forget you and they say, "Oh Jesus, how long is he dead now?" or whatever it is, and then you get chatting around the table, and then you start telling a few funny stories or whatever it is, and we always laugh about her sister because she was a funny girl and all the rest of it. And she was tough and she liked her fag and a glass of wine, and she had lots of friends and things. So, look at life. People, my own mother died there 3 months ago, whatever it is, as well,
Ah,
suddenly enough. But the thing is the stories that you hear, because when you know people, you know, I know them as my sister, or I know my mother, or you know your father, but you only know them as your father. And then when you talk to their friends afterwards, they were their friends. So they're telling you different stories, a different side, a different complexion, and no more than you. People just think I listen to dark music, whatever it is, but I'm singing in the car with the others when they're doing Yellow Submarine or something as well, you know? And
Right. Right.
so everyone has a different. It's no more than when you go to court and people say, "What's your witness reaction? What do you witness from that accident?" Well, you've seen it from the left hand side. I've seen it from the right hand side. I've seen it from the back, and the other one's seen it from the front. So we all have different views of it. So there's nothing sad. And the longer you live, which is a privilege, the more you'll see, but the
Yes.
more you'll be hurt, but the happier you will be sometimes. And if you die at 42, unfortunately, but you know, you could be dying of cancer for 10 years, you could have Alzheimer's, you could have all these different, there's loads of different things. So people are struggling to stay alive, and then other people are dying to die, so,
Yes.
and,
And you bring up, we're going to end on a good note. I'm going to make sure of
sorry,
that. But
yeah,
the reason why I wrote that thing and the story that's in here is called Shape Pin Dead Cell. I wrote that to get it out of my system, and I did. And then when I did that, I came out like I was, when I got out of the hospital and I came home, on fire to just create and embrace everything I got back, because I was mad that time got taken away from me. And I
oh,
came
yeah.
out like an inferno. And it doesn't always work. You hit some walls along the way again and again, but it did. I moved on. I'm still here. I'm doing this. I'm talking to you. Almost, this almost didn't happen.
Yeah,
Years from
it's no
now.
more than COVID and the rest of it. People race out of things, but now we have to you have to draw a stall then as well and say, right, you come out right. It's like it's a marathon. If you sprint and keep sprinting, you will run out of fucking wind. You just have to, right. I can't do everything today. What am I going to do next week and tomorrow? And this is what I like, and I stop and I think, and this is where the music comes in, because you're racing around trying to pay the bills and you're trying to live life and do things, and life is great, but it's only what you get out of it or put into
Yes.
it, and you have to be realistic with yourself to say, there's too many. I love dreams and I love all those things, but they're dreams. Um, and it's great to have them. But if you don't dream, you won't have any aims. So,
Right.
yeah, look at you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Live as long as you can and enjoy as much as you can and get out and go to that gig and treat yourself. Treat yourself.
And
You
I always
deserve it.
and call that person you haven't called in a while.
Yeah, 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 and don't fall out with people. You won't make anything out of an enemy, like the hate. Just stay away. If we don't get on, that's fine. We understand. Yeah, we just can't get on. That's all right. On to
Yeah.
the next people. There's 8 billion people and it's growing. Is it 8.1 billion or whatever it is? Surely to Jesus you'll get on, because if you have friends on that hand, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And you'll surely find five of them around the 1.1 billion people. Five of them will surely stick with you.
Yeah, I needed to hear you say that just then. That worked. Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, if you can count that on your hand, you have that in
Hey,
your
you're doing well. Someone that yeah, when you want, or the car, you need someone to collect the kids, or the cars after breaking down, or someone just turns up, and your child is sick. Jesus, no problem, I'll do that. And it's not, and it's people that follow through. People that follow through are the ones, not people that say, I'll do, Jesus, call me anytime. And then when you do call, they're not there. It's people
uh,
that follow through is the most important ones. Yeah.
and yeah, I've had that too. I've had that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this show we do. It's been a while since we do a lot of weird stuff on here, but we do talk horror a lot and sci-fi and such, and comic books and things like that. Do you have a favorite horror movie or three?
Jesus, you see, it's not really. I would always not horror movies, I presume, because it was more Flatlines. I always like. I was a Kiefer Sutherland and
Flatliners, sure.
Lost Boy, Flatliners and Lost Boys, and I,
Oh yeah, Lost
I
Boys.
was never too much into horror where they're chopping the heads off or Saw or any of these things, and they were just. It was too unreal. It'd be more the psychological thing that would be, you know.
All right, so
Uh,
Silence of the Lambs, something like that.
Not even. He's just evil. I just don't like. You know.
Oh, oh, hey,
Yeah,
that's
it's just
that's
that.
very interesting to hear from somebody when you do make some dark music. So we
Yeah,
went
but
circle here.
there's no one gets hurt and there's only me. There's no one, there's no
Very
one.
good point.
It's I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not doing anything in any of that in any of it, and it's just yeah. So I would prefer a comedy. I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
what you did last summer or something, a comedy horror or something like that. But it's not my go-to. But the other subculture is the music and that's what I was saying. I end up in the weirdest places because these people are into it. Not really mine. I'd rather a laugh, but I still am part of that subculture. So maybe I'm
I
an
hear
outlier on the other side. Someone told me once before, he said, "You're a bit of a niche, aren't you?" And he said, "No, you're a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche." And he said, "I could go a bit further, but you're probably there."
I think you just wrote another pMad song within a niche.
Niche, yes.
Let me say this too. On a comedy note, I'm going to see you and raise you because I bought my dad a movie on DVD that he never owned, but it's a favorite of ours because we were Peter Sellers fans. The
Oh,
Party. You ever see The Party?
yeah, yeah, brilliant,
Party. That
brilliant.
is a classic
Peterson.
for us. It wasn't always on TV, but when it was on, we would catch it. I found the DVD and I bought it for him. It was the greatest
Be
thing.
rare enough now. That's yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But then
that
with Peter Sellers, you gotta laugh. He's
uh,
just genius. Yeah,
not
yeah.
everybody knows him anymore, though. You see, that's a lost generation. Unless we bring it's up to us to bring
That's
it.
what happens as it goes along. That's just
Yeah,
the new. But no one lasts too long. Everyone's disposable. There's no
yeah,
one. They just seem to. Where's the next star coming from? And where's it's the last a few years, and that's it. And there's no
yeah.
Jimmy Cagney's and who or James Dean's, and no, he didn't last too long either, of course. But but
Right.
the
It's
all the
also
other.
who are we going to cancel next? Boo that. And who
Well,
cares?
no, in all fairness, some of them probably do deserve to be now. There's some of the actions.
Just
Yeah. But then look at Twitter, seeing people leaving Twitter, and then there's people staying on it, and there's people doing all sorts. Look at free speech. It's just again, move on, move
yeah,
on. If
move
you
on.
don't like it, move on. If they
Like
have
in
something
a
to say,
car accident, don't rubberneck, just keep driving.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
listen, Paul Dillon, thank you so much for doing
It's
this.
been a pleasure, David Fairfield.
And when you,
Uh,
I guess, Feed will be on the new album at some point.
definitely on the album. Yeah, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
this year? When can we look forward to that?
Yeah, that's the plan now at the minute is I'm going through the building plan and the process. I'm trying to work out the next song. I think the next song that might suit you is Blood.
Uh,
I
I'm
think
already in.
I will send it on to you pre and you can have it before everyone else. Um, I believe that'll be the song. So I've created about 12, 14 songs, but I'm going to bring it down to eight to match for the final, and might have one or two remixes. Not really too push now, because what I've done is there's edits for Spotify and things like that and radio, and then I'm gonna have a slightly longer version or a lot longer long version on the vinyl, so there'll be fill up the vinyl, and then on the Bandcamp there'll actually extended versions. There's a couple of them are 6 and 7 minutes long, so um. It's just variations, give people different things and stuff like that. That if people buy something, streaming, you don't deserve a whole pile because I'm getting a feck all for it, but you get the taster. It's like the starter. If you want to go in there to the bank camp and you want to buy the CD or the vinyl, you deserve it all. I'll look after you, no problem at all. Talk to me.
Awesome.
That's the plan anyway. So and this year, and of course, I'm waiting on to see finances and how at least final prices have really come down. It's just to
Oh
get
yeah, they need to. But then you got your exclusives too that come out now and then. But folks, now you've met the man. It makes the music more interesting when you listen to them. And now you see where some of them come from. We're gonna go out with Sister, like I said. And hey, well, now you know where that comes from too. So we're gonna leave you in the dark with that one, guys. I hate to say it, and girls. But hey, we want Paul to come back sometime too. Um,
that'd be a pleasure.
so please, yeah, man, you just have a topic you want to discuss and get out there. I don't care if it takes 10 minutes. Ring me up and we'll do it. It could be, maybe not this week, but
No, no, no.
maybe a month from now, something hits you, hit me up because
Yeah.
very interesting to talk to, and I appreciate talking with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And see, it's about connection, life. It's about connection and meeting people
Yes.
and similar. And to know you're not, as you said earlier, that you're not alone, and you're not. You can't
Right.
be.
Right.
It just mightn't be in the same county or it mightn't be in the same country, but you're not alone. And technology is small. The world is a small place now. I always say you can't bring the girlfriend anywhere because you're gonna get caught, you know?
I don't get recognized. But I have been in strange places at a club or for a show. Conventions I do because generally they're horror conventions. But it's weird when somebody taps your shoulder at a club and you sometimes it's a band. And then I'm like, they're my next guests, and that's
There
fun.
you go. Yeah, yeah.
It is a
And
community.
it's a great appreciation that they've done their homework for you and the rest of it as well. And that's the connection, you know.
And I'm going to leave you with homework. If you've got bands that are interested, we're signing up. We're scheduling things up right now. So my assistants and myself to get some more
Oh,
bands on here. I'm kind of on a band thing this year. There's a lot more bands than movies that we're going to be talking about. So I'm
yes.
fine with that. Music for me
Find
makes the world go
the
round.
darker ones. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I'll have a think.
All right. Hey, all right, kids. Fairlydarkproductions.com for everything. Celebrationofspirits.com for all you artists out there. And this guy, pMad, you know where to find him now. Paul Dillon, he has his own Facebook page too, so you can talk with him there if you'd like, if you prefer that. Do you like him to go there?
Oh, anywhere at all. I will talk to anyone. I am very amenable. I love talking to people, and if they've had to ask or question me or whatever it is, just ask. I'm,
Exactly.
as you can see, I'm not shy.
Yeah. You know what? I should tell you this before I let you go. Really cool. I had listeners that heard an episode come at me and say, "Hey, I was inspired by this episode. I know this band or I know this guy," and
There you
then
go.
it rolls. It keeps rolling.
Yeah.
That is what it's all about. Now that doesn't happen often, but when it does, boy, is it a good feeling.
Ah, it's brilliant. Look at
Really
the
good.
encouragement is what gets you up the next day to hear these things. And someone listens to your show or someone listens to your song. Gee,
Right.
here's the
Right.
privilege. Like there's how many 100,000 songs they say a week are being released or million, so to get above that noise is just unreal, So
Get
but
above
everyone
the
passes any remarks.
get above the noise. I love that. I do love that. And I want to thank everybody for listening. I am David J. Fairhead, Fairhead, spelled like it sounds. And this was Paul Dillon. And you listen to Kettle Whistle Radio. Find us on Spotify if you didn't already, and iHeartRadio. And I'm going to say goodnight. Paul, you're going to say goodnight?
Good night, and thank you very much indeed, David, for having me. And listeners, hope you enjoyed. I didn't put you down too much, depression, and keep hope alive.
We can cancel them too. Bad
Or
idea.
vice versa, it happens too.
All right. Good night. All right. I'm going to ask you to hold on just for a moment.
Of course.
And we're gonna. There's a couple of things I had to ask you, but let me just